Thanks again for joining me. I just wanted to do a video to demonstrate start to finish creating one of these Autobot constructions that I've been messing around with lately. We may come up with something cool, or it may be kind of lame, but hopefully in the end I will have demonstrated some techniques that perhaps you might find interesting or that you can use in your music. So let's get started. So I just have a set here just set up for making a video. The first thing I'm going to do is put in the Knobbler device into a track that I always have called Meta. And what Knobbler is it's a way to use an iPad as a parameter control surface. Okay, we've got the Knobbler loaded, and let's just make sure that it's communicating properly with the iPad. So let's just pick the track volume. Oh yeah, not Blue Hand, here. Yep, and so if I move this, that's the microphone volume, and if I double tap it, then it goes back to 0. So we're looking good. I'll unmap it now, and we've got a clean slate. So what we're going to do is have a single MIDI track. It's the only one allowed to have input, and it's going to, or sorry, other tracks are going to pull their MIDI from it. It'll make sense once we build it. So we've got our MIDI track, MIDI from all ins. This one we're going to set to record, and let's see. Yep, so I play the keyboard and we've got MIDI coming in here. That's good. Let's then pick a scale. Just kind of keeps things easy. Let's say F sharp minor, because why not? And in this MIDI track, we're going to get a scale device. And what that's going to do is any notes that go in get mapped to be in scale with the scale that we've chosen up here. So it's not going to be a supplier of out-of-scale notes, guaranteed. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is let's just make a track to prove that this MIDI's working. So Command-Shift-T, MIDI from MIDI track, and it's going to be post FX and monitor in. And so let's put an instrument in this. Let's maybe start with a kick drum. ZS kick 2 is a kick drum rack that I made. It just has parameters that I like for a kick drum. And so with this selected, I'm gonna just play a MIDI note. And we've got kick drum sounds. So great, it's working. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is let's just get the ball rolling with some sound. So I'm just gonna, let's see, what did I pick? F sharp. We're gonna go F sharp 3 and send a almost whole note and just play that. Okay, so let's now tune our kick drum. So obviously we need to shift the pitch. So we're gonna use a pitch device. Let's just make it play a fixed pitch. And so the way you can do that is choose the pitch that you want to output with lowest. And so let's say like F sharp 0 and set a range of 0 and a mode of fold. And now we get a low tone. So that's what we'll start with. So one thing, because we've got Knobbler loaded here, one thing we can do is shift to the Blue Hand tab. And I want to play around with some parameters of this kick. So all I need to do is give that device my focus, which is indicated by the blue hand icon in the title bar. And now the Blue Hand tab on Knobbler is loaded with the 16 parameters of this instrument rack. So now I can just play around with these sliders, and you know, because they're always in the same place when I'm using this device, I've kind of gotten to know the layout here. And so when I want to change something, I know where to go spatially. I don't have to read the labels. But the labels are there, and you can rename parameters here. We'll call this like ATK with caps, and it updates on the iPad. Same with the track colors. You know, we can make this lime green. This is a lime green kick, and oh, it didn't update. Oh, boodly hoodly. Okay, we had to switch back and forth File a bug. Okay. Okay, so let's get this kick shaped up. So make it a little more clicky, a little shorter, kind of less pitch envelope. Okay, that's an okay place to start. Now let's make it more interesting. We're feeding whole notes to it. We want to break that apart. Let's go for the fractal note echo for something fun. Who knows if we'll use the fractal part of it, but hey, maybe it'll be interesting. Maybe we can do something with octaves or something like that with it. Here's the bass pattern that gets loaded when you load this device. If we make a second iteration, what's happening is we're branching that pattern off of each node in the pattern and shrinking it by this amount time-wise as it's playing those repeats. So if we did 100% time scale, it's just repeating the pattern. We can set note increment to 12. Okay. That's interesting. So I just stopped it, and so we can push any note now, and we'll get that pattern. And so maybe one thing that that might be something we want to control is this iterations thing. So we can switch between that and this. Okay. So what I can do is go to the Knobbler tab here in TouchOSC, and iterations is focused right now. I don't have to do anything other than tap a slider that's not assigned right now. So just tap it. Now I'm locked with this slider to that iterations knob, and you know, I can just, no matter where I am in the live set, let's say I'm back here in this track, I can always be changing this on the iPad, and it's going to be changing that, that parameter. So we can shift from this to this to this maybe. So maybe that'll be something we can make use of. Knobbler also lets you set ranges for the knobs, and so maybe we want to like max out at 3. So we'll just drop this on the screen until that slider is all the way at the top. And now we've got the range that we want to use for that parameter. So let's go back to the kick. Another tip that I'd like to share is you can assign keyboard shortcuts to devices. And if you combine that with the Bluehead functionality, what you can do is push one key on the keyboard, and then you've got all the parameters for that instrument immediately in front of you. So let's take a look at what that might look like. So if I wanted to assign the keystroke K to this kick 2 instrument, I just have to do Command K to enter keyboard mapping mode. With that device focused, hit the letter that I want to assign to it. So I'll just hit K, and we see the K show up right here, and then Command K to exit that mode. So now I can go somewhere else in the live set and then hit the letter K on my keyboard, and now all the parameters are here. It's focused on the screen, the track is selected, ready to go. So this can be a time saver if you're hopping around, fine-tuning sounds, fine-tuning instruments, stuff like that. Okay, so we've got a kick who plays a little pattern. It's a good start. Now let's add some chords, and that's a good way to get a flywheel turning. So we're going to do another MIDI track, MIDI from MIDI, post effects, monitor in, and actually let's duplicate this and make it a template so we can copy it in the future just to shortcut those steps. So I'm just holding down Alt and dragging. It makes a copy. Command R to rename. We'll call this template. Yep, learn to type. And okay, so now we'll just clone this one in the future when we want new instrument tracks. So this one, we want it to play a chord. Let's use just a piano just to demonstrate it. What's cracked piano? Okay. That sounds nice. Let's just say, take a little less space. So the device I'm looking for is called chord. and I'll turn on scale awareness and do 2, 5, 8. We'll see where that goes. So now if I push a key, that's a cool chord. Okay, we're gonna have fun with this. Okay, let's now replay this. Okay, that'll be maddening, but we can do some fun stuff with that. So first thing I want to do is drop it down an octave. So we'll go to the pitch device again, and we'll bring it down. Play this again. Okay, that'll be all right. We'll get some variety going here pretty soon. Let's see. Actually, let's get some variety going lickety split. And so what we can use is a device that I made called the key stepper, and this is a step sequencer. It advances anytime it gets a note. It advances in its steps. And so let's just say every, like, we're gonna have a 3-step pattern. Oops, 3. And these are like relative pitches relative to C3. So if I put this up like 4 semitones, then it's going to add 4 semitones to the note coming in. That doesn't mean it's going to play an E. It's just going to be 4 semitones above the note that's received. So we'll do like a +4 and a +5, and let's put that through the scale device. And that'll go right here. So now if I just play middle C, okay, maybe interesting. We'll kind of keep that in mind for a little bit here. What I'd really like to do is kind of have a master chord track and then use some other devices to make use of the notes in that chord across different instruments, and I'll show that here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a new template copy track. We're going to move the chord device into that. And this is going to be called chord source. Let's see. So chord source isn't going to make any noise itself. It's just the source of chords. Cracked piano, we're going to make a group of these. And so I'm going to Command G. The first piano, let's say first piano, it gets its MIDI from the chord source and post effects so that we can mute it. And let's color the first piano light green. Okay, let's play this and see what happens. Okay, it's the same as what it was before, and so that's a good sign. Okay, the next thing we want to do is set this up so that we have individual instruments to play individual notes from that chord. And the way we can do that is by using this device called Chord Ripper. You need to put one of these on every channel that you want to spread the notes across. Only one of those channels should be receiving MIDI. So this channel, and I'll put the Chord Ripper first, is set up to get MIDI from chord source. And then let's duplicate this track, and we're going to say MIDI from all ends, because we don't want it to come from chord source, and I just turn monitor off. Because what's going to happen is it also has a chord ripper. We're going to set it to voice 2 of the chord, so it's getting the second note of the chord. Let's take out this key stepper for now. Okay, so this one is second piano, and we'll make it that color. Duplicate third and a different color, and it's going to be voice 3. And what do you think is going to happen next? Fourth piano. Yeah, I'm a professional. And that's voice 4. And so now what we can do is we'll play a note, and we're getting that same chord now, but look, all of these tracks are active. Looks like we still, do we have, oh yeah, this is still coming in, this key stepper. Let's just take that out for now. Okay, so now we're hearing all these pianos, and now we can kind of, each note can have its own character. It could be a wildly different instrument, up to you. But what I want to do here is introduce a device that I made called Chiastic Slide. And what Chiastic Slide is it's a multi-channel crossfader. And so in this case, we have 4 of these piano channels. We've put Chiastic Slide into their group channel. And so Chiastic Slide looks for the child channels in that group and represents each one with a colored ball in its display. And so let's give the 4th piano its own color here. And we'll go back to the group, and now we see the colors are correct. And now let's play a note. Now we're only hearing that one note, because what we're doing is we're pointed at the green ball. And if we change this direction, let me turn off that kick for just a second. Okay, so this gives us an interesting capability with being able to spread out the nodes of a chord across different instruments. They can be panned in space differently, like the first one can be on the left, the second one can be on the right, and then a little less left and a little less right. We can listen to that. And we can be like, well, no, let's put this one over here. You know, so we're just kind of, what we're doing is you can see the volume faders on those, on the mixer over here. As I change the direction, they're just indicating what's happening. And you also have control over the width of the pickup pattern. So that gives you more of a wavy thing, versus if you have a narrow width, then you're kind of surgically listening to things. There's also this idea of curve, which at the lowest curve, you hear anything that's contained in the width. At the highest curve, no matter what the width is, you really have to be pointed right at the thing to hear it. Okay, so we'll put these back to their defaults. And it can be fun to have something that's just changing this direction knob for us. And so let's just pick an LFO device and add it here. We switch it to remote mode, map it to direction, and see we're generating a sine wave that's going to sweep this back and forth. If we wanted to go in a circle, you could just use an up sawtooth, and that's just, you know, the nature of the sawtooth is once it gets to 360 degrees, it falls down to 0 and starts over again. And so that manifests itself as a circle. And so if you tempo lock this, you can get some cool rhythmic patterns with it. So like on quarter notes. So because there's 4 things, we're kind of hearing them. Each note is on its own 16th, which could be interesting if we put the kick back in. Okay, so what I want to do is just map some Knobbler knobs to this filter B on these piano devices. So what I'm doing is just going through the tracks, clicking on that filter B frequency, and then just tapping an unassigned slider on the Knobbler. And now what I'll have is control at my fingertips. Let's see, well, if I'm playing a note. So, you know, we can manipulate things that way. And this, so let's give it a, let's just make a delay send here. So we're going to insert a return track, a fun delay, Valhalla delay. I really like it. and I prefer it in ratio mode. With these are good starting numbers. I like to add a little drive. We definitely want to put feedback on a Knobbler knob to let us really control that. And so that parameter is right here, and I'll just tap this up in the corner. So I kind of like to use the location of the sliders consistently, so I can kind of always have that delay there. And maybe let's do drive too. Where is that? Here. Okay, so we'll put drive next to it. And for our chord group here, this is the pianos. We're going to assign send A to this slider here. And so we can play a note. Cool, so we've got good control over that. The next step, let's have a bass. Shall we have a bass? So we'll make another template track clone. Let's put it just after the kick. Okay, that worked. And give it a nice bassy color. And for the instrument, for a bass, I kind of reach way outside the box sometimes, and I will use the instrument called bass for a bass. Let's turn off the chord source for now. So we're just hearing the kick and the bass. So obviously our bass needs to be an octave or so lower, so pitch device. And let's go 1 octave down. I like that. Let's hear it with the chords. Okay, that's cool. I like how that's coming together. So one idea that I have is let's use a combination of a note echo with the key stepper to kind of make a walkie bass line. So one note kind of gives you a little walk. So let's do note echo, or actually no, we're going to do lens stepper, because that gives us better control over individual step lengths. And then we'll put a key stepper after that. I tend to use this combination pretty frequently. So let's just do like 5 steps. So we want to pick kind of an odd number so we can have a little cycle of walking, I think. Let's just get back to the bass and the kick. Okay, because these are both 5, then it's going to repeat. But if we make it 6 over on this side, so that it kind of rolls back through the pitches as it repeats. So that may be handy to like keep it from getting stale down the line. Let's set up easy access to the bass instrument here. We'll go to Blue Hand. No, it's a little glitchy. Command K, select the bass, B, Command K. So now we've got K for kick drum, B for bass. Okay, and so let's get the shape of the bass sound. So maybe a little less filter in to kind of make it less goofy. I think we need to go 1 more octave down. Okay, and the kick. Okay, let's get, we need to call this bass. And let's get all these under a sidechain group so that we can kind of duck out the kick. Sidechain. And here, let's go pure. We're going to use a gate. And its audio from is kick. We'll flip it. Okay, what else are we doing? Let's put the chords back on. Let's try this. Okay, it's a little sassy, brassy, but you know, let's check the levels. Way too loud. Okay, let's get the kick levels right at -12. That's where I like to be. Okay, and let's just do a pad sound for some chords too, just for some foundation. So we'll go to chord source, make a new MIDI track, set its MIDI from to chord source, post effects, monitor in, and then we'll put our buddy the J8 on this one. I want to reset the parameters on this, so we're going to just take this out for now. And so what I can do is when you go into that configure mode, you're controlling the parameters that this third-party VST is exposing to Ableton Live. And so then you can design a layout here for the Blue Hand page in Knobbler based on clicking some parameters in the plugin. So with it still in configure mode, if you click like cutoff frequency, now you've got it here and now it's on the iPad. And I can control it now. Then you got like resonance, we want env mod, LFO mod, we want the env1 ADSR, got plenty more. How about LFO mod on the pitch, LFO rate, that's always a great one to have underhand. Well, that's enough for now. So we'll stop configuring and let's also give another keyboard shortcut to this J8. So Command K, let's just call it J for J8, and Command K again. So we've got, here, let's get rid of that. K for kick, J for J8, B for bass. And so anytime we want to change any of these parameters, they're right here ready for us. With the stock Ableton devices like bass, if these 4 pages of parameters are not laid out how you'd want to lay them out, for instance, where's resonance? Oh, it's on bank 2. That's kind of inconvenient. So if you really want to streamline this, you could group this instrument. That makes an instrument rack, turn on the macro knobs, and then assign, you know, what you want to control in which knob position, and you can have up to 16 knobs, and that nicely matches the number of sliders on the screen here. So maybe you'd want, yeah, like sawtooth volume, pulse volume, sub volume, that's a good one, cutoff, res, drive, and env. Let's just start there. Oh, maybe, you know, the filter env stuff too. SR, okay, I can operate a mouse. So now, let's actually Command K, we're going to take away this B mapping and we're going to give it to the instrument rack. And so let's give the B mapping to this one and Command K to exit. So now K for kick, J for J8 with our parameter layout, and B for bass with our parameter layout, and that's this instrument rack. And so now we can be playing this. Oh my gosh, okay, it's that J8. Let's just turn this off for now. promise it'll get better. Okay, the J8, now we need to figure out what that's going to sound like, because it wasn't sounding so good when we just heard it just now. So we'll turn it back on. We'll open it up, and let's just pick one of the presets it comes with. I don't know what these sound like. I'm just picking something randomly here. Anyway, oh, I like that. Do I want to change anything about that? I do want to add, like, have a different filter going. What filter is actually in play here? Oh, this is the lower panel. This is always confounding with this J8. I kind of wish it didn't have the upper lower thing, or that could be like a user setting. So we'll just map most of the ones that we had. We don't have to do all of them. Let's get the envelope stuff. Okay, that's good enough. Exit configure mode. We're still J for J8. Here's our stuff. So if we play some notes. Okay, that's getting cool. I'm digging it. What else do we need? Oh, let's maybe make some way to chop up this, this beautiful pad sound, but maybe we want some options for chopping it up. And so I have a rack that I've put together. I use quite a bit. I call it shaper volume. And all it is a shaper device mapped to the volume knob of a utility. And it's just like LFO tool. You get to choose a rate. So right now it's running on 1/8 notes. Let's slow it down to, no, actually let's make it like 1/16. And in this case, we've got like a sawtooth up with a little curve, and you can adjust the depth. And so that's, in this case, adjusting how it's cutting into the sound, how the volume is getting cut out here. And so let's hear that. Okay, so definitely we want to be able to adjust that depth as it's playing. So let's give this little corner to the pad. So I'm going to have this be the shaper volume depth. And then we want an overall pad volume. So we'll put that here. Back to bass track, I just hit B to get to our bass track. We definitely want a volume control for this track. And so right now I've cut it 8 because it was too loud. But I just want this other one that I can just have zeroed out to save as one of these knobs, so that maybe if I faded out the bass, I can just double tap it to bring it back to 0 at the volume that I want. So even though I have 2 utilities, they're each serving a different purpose. Oh, and we also want to go to the kick and also map, so let's unmap the bass here. We've got a kick. We'll put the kicks next to each other. We'll go back to the bass, and we'll put this gain knob here just to keep the kicks together. The basses are together. Pianos are here. Piano send to delay is here. Delay feedback. Let's also do pad send to the delay here. We'll put that there. So we got our 2 delay sends right here next to each other, so we can play with those. We see them on the screen here. Also the delay feedback and drive. Okay, so we're going to switch to arrangement mode. We don't need this stuff. And let's see, so we've got MIDI as our input. I'm just going to hit H to adjust things for height. Okay, we've got our bass and kick volume. We've got our pad volume. Do we have a piano volume? Oh no, yeah, so we, for our pianos with the chiastic slide, let's see, should we keep this rhythmic? We'll keep it rhythmic and put a slider here. Let's listen to that. I'm already getting lost. Okay, one thing I've learned is make an audio recording when doing this stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit record. We're going to record all the MIDI. It's going to record all the movement from any slider here on the iPad, and it's going to be represented as automation on the screen. So we can actually do a performance and then go back and fine-tune little things that we did. But it's pretty efficient in terms of how much stuff you can get in there at once. You're not just working track by track, you're working with the whole thing all at once. Okay, so let's make an audio track. We want that to be just resampling and mute, but record also. So I have these two recording. Loop is off. I'm at 111. And let's hit record and see where we go. Let's see. So let's like what this is fine, but there's a lot going on and we don't have a lot of places to go to. So I want to start at maybe more minimal. So right now I'm just, I don't know, searching around and looking for inspiration for like a starting point. Well, anyway, kind of lost focus there. Maybe had higher expectations for how that might come out, but it is what it is, and maybe there's something in there that gets salvaged, either in the recording or you know, we can basically, we've got, I hit W to see the width of the set here. If I hit A for automation, here's all the movements of the knobs that, that I put in through the iPad here. And we can see them visualized. Like maybe we can look at this one a little bit more closely. And if we set the playback head here, this is the second piano frequency. So that's going to be this light blue slider here. So we can watch it, you know, take a trip down. So, you know, if we wanted to, we could say, oh, well, actually, let's, you know, have that drop at a slower pace here. And, you know, instead of what was recorded, now it's, you know, now we're hearing that adjustment. So, you know, your workflow might be, well, this is your first draft, and now you can go in and maybe record more automation moves into it, or you go back to your recording and maybe there are samples you can pluck out of here, or you could slice it up, put that across a sampler, and, you know, you're taking this whole performance as, you know, one sample. So it's really up to you. Okay, anyhow, well, I hope that was interesting for you. That was pretty fun for me. Maybe it gave you some ideas of what you might do with your music, maybe using some of these tools. I'll put a link in the description to where you can download all of these tools. I put them up for free, and you can just download them directly from my site. So happy to hear your feedback on this video, on any of these devices, or, you know, any ideas you've got for some cool stuff. Let's chat. So until next time, take care. Thanks a lot. We'll see ya. Bye now.